Rain hammered the stone courtyard of Dora Fortress, turning the ancient tiles slick and black. Emmett Dunn hadn't planned on drawing his sword tonight. He'd come to the Caldorian trading post for a routine supply drop. Deliver cargo, grab a drink, leave. Instead, he now stood in the center of a torchlit courtyard facing a monster. Durak towered over him, 8 feet of muscle wrapped in ceremonial armor. Blue skin glistened beneath the rain. His curved sword looked less like a weapon and more like a butcher's tool. "You insulted Lady Era," the translator in Emmett's ear rendered, from the alien's growl. "You will die for it." Emmett exhaled slowly. "All I did," he said calmly, and was asked what she was drinking. A ripple of laughter passed through the crowd. Across the courtyard stood Lady Era. Tall, elegant, silver hair cascading over deep blue skin, sapphire eyes watched him with amused indifference. Behind her stood 5 attendants in dark uniforms. Maids, but the way they stood balanced. Alert, told Emmett they were far more than servants. "Lady Era," Emmett called over the rain. "Call off your champion. This is pointless." Her musical laugh cut through the storm. "A human lecturing Caldorian law," she said. "How entertaining." She raised a 6-fingered hand. "The duel stands." Durak roared and charged. The blade came down like a falling guillotine. Emmett moved. Steel screamed as their weapons met. The crowd murmured. The human was faster than expected. Durak swung again, brutal, heavy. Emmett slipped aside. Training took over. Earth Fleet combat discipline drilled into muscle memory. Durak was powerful, but sloppy. 5 minutes passed in a blur of steel and rain. The alien grew angrier with each missed strike. "Finish him!" Era called. Her voice carried irritation now. That did it. Durak raised his sword high for a killing blow and left his entire torso open. Emmett stepped forward. Pivot. One perfect strike. His blade cut upward, through armor, through flesh, through bone. Durak froze. Then the upper half of the giant slid from the lower. Both pieces collapsed onto the stone. Blue blood mixed with rainwater. The courtyard fell silent. Emmett lowered his sword slowly. I warned him. Across the courtyard, Era stared. Her confident smile had vanished. Then something even stranger happened. The noblewoman dropped to her knees. Behind her, the 5 maids did the same. The watching crowd bowed their heads. An elderly Caldorian stepped forward. "The law is absolute," he said. "You defeated her champion." Emmett frowned. "So?" The elder bowed. "Lady Era and her household now belong to you." Emmett blinked. "What?" The elder spoke calmly. "By the ancient codes of Cadora, they are now your concubines." Across the courtyard, Lady Era slowly lifted her eyes. And for the first time, she looked afraid. Emmett had just won a duel, and accidentally claimed 6 alien women by law. The rain had stopped by the time they reached the spaceport. Emmett still felt like he was walking inside someone else's nightmare. Lady Era walked beside him stiffly. Her silver hair was braided now, her aristocratic posture restored, but the humiliation in her eyes was impossible to hide. Behind them followed the 5 maids. Lena, Tara, Mira, Dora, Ellen. Each carried a small travel case. Each walked as if their entire future had just collapsed. "Listen," Emmett sighed. "This whole concubine thing—" "It is not a thing," Era snapped. "It is law." "Well," Emmett said, "Earth has laws too. Most of them stopped involving ownership of people about 200 years ago." Her stopped walking. Her sapphire eyes flashed. "You believe this humiliates me more than it humiliates you?" Emmett opened his mouth, closed it again. "A fair point." They reached docking bay 17. The Artemis waited there, his small cargo vessel. Home, and suddenly far too small. "Wait here," Emmett said. "I'll prep the ship." One of the maids stepped forward. The youngest. Lena. "Master Dunn," she said gently. "Just Emmett." Her lips twitched slightly. "Perhaps I can assist you." Inside the ship, Lena moved through the cabin with quiet fascination. "This is a Terran Horizon-class vessel," she said.
Mark 5.
Emmett blinked. "How did you know that?" "I enjoy xenotechnology." She leaned over the console beside him. Then the diagnostic screen turned red. Warning alarms screamed. "Great," Emmett muttered. He opened the engine diagnostics. Someone had deliberately damaged the fuel injection manifold. "Sabotage. We're not leaving tonight," he said. Lena studied the damage. "Someone doesn't want us leaving, Dora." When they returned outside, Era listened grimly. I know who did this, she said. Prefect Norland. Emmett folded his arms. Let me guess. He hates humans. No, Era said quietly. He hates losing. Her eyes hardened. He wanted me. And now you won me. Emmett groaned. Oh, this keeps getting worse. Era nodded grimly. Yes, it does. Because somewhere in the city, Prefect Norland had just learned the human pilot was still on Khadora. And Norland did not lose. Someone powerful sabotaged Emmett's ship, and they won't let him leave the planet alive. The inn was called the Distant Home, run by a retired Earth Marine named Harding, which meant Emmett trusted it immediately. You bring trouble everywhere. Done. Harding laughed when he saw the 6 blue-skinned women behind him. You have no idea. They took 2 upstairs rooms. Too small, too crowded, too complicated. Morning arrived far too soon. Emmett woke to movement. Mira stood near his bed arranging clothes. She froze when she saw him awake. Forgiveness, Master. Emmett. Yes, Emmett. Downstairs, Harding grinned. Your lady started a Kaldorian ritual in the bathhouse. Emmett froze. What kind of ritual? Harding shrugged. Something about acknowledging bonds. Emmett groaned. Please tell me I'm not required. Harding leaned closer. If you refuse? Massive cultural insult. Of course it is. The Kaldorian bathhouse filled with steam and mineral water. 6 blue-skinned women waited beside the pool, wrapped in thin white robes. Ira watched him carefully. You considered refusing. I did. Her expression tightened. You dishonor us if you do. Emmett sighed. Fine. He stepped into the water. Then Era removed her robe and entered the pool. The maids followed. Emmett very suddenly forgot what he was about to say. Kaldorians looked mostly human. Mostly. But their bodies carried subtle differences. Longer limbs, stronger musculature, faint shimmering patterns across their skin. Era approached with a vial of oil. The ritual begins with the primary concubine. Before Emmett could react, warm hands pressed against his shoulders. Oil spread across his skin. Then each maid stepped forward, hands brushing his arms, chest, back. The ritual blurred into something strangely intimate. Finally, Lena stepped close. Golden-flecked eyes met his. Now, she whispered, you must acknowledge us. Era guided his hand, one by one, touching each woman's shoulder, completing the bond. Something changed in the air, something deeper than law. When the ritual ended, Era studied him quietly. You understand now, she said. This is not ownership. It is belonging. Emmett didn't answer, because somewhere deep in his chest, he felt the truth of it. And across the street outside the bathhouse, a hooded spy slipped away into the shadows, running to deliver a message to Prefect Norland. The human had accepted the bond, which meant Norland's plans had just become far more dangerous. Norland is preparing his next move, and Emmett has no idea he's already walking into a trap. By midday, the city had changed. Emmett noticed it the moment he stepped out of the distant home. More patrols, more weapons, less laughter. Something's wrong, he muttered. Era didn't answer immediately. Her gaze swept the street, calculating. Norland, she said quietly. A Kaldorian patrol marched past the inn. Heavy armor, shock rifles. One soldier slammed a notice onto the public board across the street. Port lockdown by order of Prefect Norland. No departures. No cargo movement. No civilian flights. Emmett stared. You've got to be kidding me. Era folded her arms. He moves quickly. Because of me? Because of us. Harding stepped outside, wiping his hands on a rag. Spaceport sealed tight, the old Marine said. Norland's people are everywhere. Emmett swore under his breath. We fix the ship. We leave. Era shook her head. No. That single word carried authority. You underestimate Norland, she continued. He doesn't want you dead. Great. He wants you publicly executed. Emmett blinked. Well, that's worse. Across the street, Lena quietly scanned a datapad she had borrowed from Harding. Her brow furrowed. Master, Emmett, she corrected quickly. There's something else. She turned the screen. A Kaldorian intelligence alert. Artifact breach detected. Temple District. Era's eyes widened. The heart. Emmett frowned. Heart of what? The heart of Kaldoria, Era said. A relic older than our civilization. And? If Norland controls it, her voice hardened, he can legally claim authority over every noble house on the planet. Emmett sighed. So the psychopath gets magical political power. Era nodded. Yes. He rubbed his temples. Fantastic. Dora stepped forward quietly. Then we stop him. Everyone turned. The maid's eyes were calm. Deadly. Era smiled faintly. Perhaps, she said, we are no longer helpless. Emmett looked around the group. 6 alien women, 1 grounded cargo pilot, against a planetary governor. He cracked his knuckles. All right, he said. Let's steal a heart. But Norland already knew they were coming. And he had prepared the temple like a battlefield. The temple district sat at the center of Khadora like a crown of stone. Ancient towers, carved pillars, thousands of years of Kaldorian history. Tonight it was crawling with soldiers. Of course it is, Emmett muttered from the rooftop. Below them, Norland's guards patrolled every entrance. Shock cannons, armored drones, security grids. Era studied the layout. Direct assault is impossible. Emmett pointed at a drainage channel along the temple wall. What about there? Lena followed his finger. Substructure maintenance corridor, she said. Era raised a brow. You read temple schematics now? Lena gave a shy smile. I enjoy research. Emmett grinned. Then lead the way. They slipped through the shadows, dropping quietly into the drainage tunnel. Dark, wet, and just wide enough to crawl. 10 minutes later, they reached a sealed grate. Beyond it, the temple vault. Golden light bathed the chamber, and in the center hovered a glowing crystal sphere, the heart of Caldoria. Era stared. It's real. Emmett pulled the grate loose slowly. No alarms? Lena frowned. None. That was the problem. They entered the chamber. The moment Emmett stepped forward, the doors slammed shut. Steel shutters sealed the exits. Lights flared. Slow clapping echoed through the chamber. Prefect Norland stepped from the shadows. Tall, elegant, smiling. Welcome, he said. Era's face hardened. You planned this? Of course. Norland's gaze shifted to Emmett. So this is the human who stole my prize. Emmett shrugged. She came willingly. Norland's smile vanished. Kill him. 20 soldiers raised rifles. Era stepped forward instantly. You touch him, she said coldly, and every noble house on this planet will hunt you. Norland chuckled. Not once I claimed the heart. He raised a hand. Energy surged through the crystal. The room shook. Emmett felt the floor tremble beneath his boots. Something ancient had just awakened, and it was listening. Because the heart of Caldoria wasn't just a relic. It was reacting to the human. The crystal pulsed. Once, twice. Then it flared with blinding light. Norland frowned. That's not expected. Energy arced across the chamber, dancing through the air like lightning. Every soldier stepped back instinctively. Except Emmett. The light was pulling him forward. Emmett, Era warned. But it was too late. The heart reacted violently the moment he stepped closer. Symbols ignited across the chamber walls. Ancient Kaldorian script. Lena gasped. It's recognizing him. Norland's expression darkened. Impossible. Emmett reached the crystal. His hand touched the glowing surface. The entire temple shook. A shockwave blasted outward. Soldiers crashed into pillars. The lights died. When the glow faded, the heart hovered silently. Dim now, quiet, and Emmett was still standing. Norland stared. No, he whispered. This relic belongs to Caldoria. Era stepped forward slowly. Perhaps, she said softly. It recognizes something older than Caldoria. Norland's rage exploded. Kill them! Gunfire erupted. Emmett moved instantly. He grabbed Era's arm and pulled her behind the crystal pedestal. Energy bolts shredded stone around them. Exit, he shouted. Blocked. Dora and Tara returned fire, stunning 2 guards. But there were too many. Norland raised a blade. If I cannot control the heart, he turned the weapon toward Emmett. Then I will destroy the one it chose. Emmett straightened slowly. The crystal behind him began glowing again. Brighter, stronger, and suddenly, every soldier's weapon shut down. The heart pulsed once more, like a heartbeat, and for the first time in centuries, the ancient relic had chosen a protector, a human. Norland stared in horror, because now killing Emmett meant something far worse. It meant declaring war on the power that built Caldoria itself. And outside the temple, an entire Caldorian army had just arrived. The temple doors exploded inward. Hundreds of Caldorian soldiers flooded the outer courtyard, weapons raised, banners snapping in the wind. Inside the vault chamber, everyone froze. Norland's smile slowly returned. Perfect timing. Emmett glanced toward the entrance, then back at the glowing heart of Caldoria hovering behind him. "Those your guys?" he muttered. Era stepped forward beside him. "No." The temple doors opened fully. A tall armored general entered, cloak trailing across the stone floor. His soldiers spread out, surrounding the chamber. The general bowed slightly toward the floating crystal. Then his gaze moved to Emmett. "Identify yourself." Emmett raised both hands slowly. "Cargo pilot." "Bad luck enthusiast." The general ignored the joke. "Why?" he asked calmly. "Does the heart respond to you?" Norland stepped forward quickly. "This human is a thief," he said smoothly. "He attempted to steal the relic." "Arrest him." The general didn't move. Instead, his eyes shifted to the ancient glyphs glowing across the chamber walls, symbols that had been dark for centuries, now burning bright. He turned slowly to Era. "Lady Era." "Explain." Era lifted her chin. "The heart has chosen." Murmurs rippled through the soldiers. Norland's face darkened. "That is impossible." Era's voice cut through the chamber. "Then explain why the relic shut down every weapon when the human touched it." Silence fell. The general studied Emmett again. Long. "Careful." Then he dropped to one knee. The entire chamber froze. "My lord," he said. Norland exploded. "Are you mad?" But it was already happening. One by one, every soldier in the chamber knelt. Norland stared in horror, because the meaning of this moment was undeniable. The heart had spoken, and according to Caldorian law, the one it chose held authority older than the throne itself. Emmett blinked. "I really need someone to explain what just happened." Era smiled faintly. "You just became the most powerful person on this planet." Across the chamber, Norland slowly drew his blade, because there was only one way left to win. Kill the chosen. Start a war. Norland gave a single order, and half the soldiers in the chamber raised their weapons. Blaster fire erupted across the temple. Chaos exploded instantly. Half the soldiers fired at Norland's loyalists. The other half fired at Emmett. "Fantastic leadership structure you people have," Emmett muttered. Era dragged him behind a pillar as energy bolts shattered stone. "This is a coup," she said. "No kidding." Across the chamber, Norland fought like a demon. His blade cut through two guards in seconds. "Kill the human!" he roared. Lena grabbed a fallen rifle and fired from cover, stunning one attacker. Tara and Dora pulled Era deeper into the temple corridor. "We have to move!" Tara shouted. Emmett glanced back at the glowing heart. "You sure we should leave that?" "It's already chosen," Era said. "Norland can't control it now." "Yeah," Emmett said. "But he can still shoot me." Another explosion rocked the chamber. Dust rained from the ceiling. The battle was spreading beyond the vault. Soldiers poured through the temple halls. The city outside erupted with alarms. Civil war had just begun. They reached a side corridor leading toward the rear exit. But Norland appeared in the doorway ahead, blood on his armor, eyes burning with rage. "You ruined everything," he said quietly. Emmett sighed. "Yeah, I get that a lot." Norland raised his blade. "Without the human, the heart will fall silent again." Era stepped forward. "You're wrong." Norland smiled coldly. "Let's test that." He lunged. Steel flashed. Emmett barely blocked the strike. The force of it drove him back across the stone floor. Norland was stronger, faster, and furious. Their blades clashed again. And again. The temple walls shook as the heart pulsed behind them like a massive heartbeat. Watching. Waiting. Choosing. Then the heart surged again. And this time the energy didn't go to Emmett. The blast hit Era first. Light erupted from the chamber behind them, racing through the temple corridors like lightning. Every symbol carved into the ancient walls ignited. Era gasped. Her body lifted off the floor. "Era!" Emmett shouted. Energy wrapped around her like a storm. Norland staggered back, stunned. "What is happening?" Lena's voice trembled. "The heart. It's awakening the bloodline." Era's eyes opened. But they were glowing now. Bright silver. Ancient. Powerful. She landed slowly. The air around her hummed with energy. Norland took a step back for the first time. No, that power died with the First Dynasty. Era looked at her hands in shock. Then at Emmett. The heart didn't just choose you, she whispered. It chose us. Norland roared and charged. Era moved, faster than anyone could see. Her hand struck Norland's chest. A shockwave launched him across the corridor, slamming him through a stone wall. Silence fell. Even the soldiers outside had stopped fighting. Because the energy radiating from the temple now was impossible to ignore. The heart was fully awake, and it had restored the power of Caldoria's ancient rulers. Era turned slowly toward Emmett. Her voice was calm, but the strength behind it felt like standing next to a star. The war just changed. Outside the temple, thousands of soldiers were gathering, choosing sides. And across the city, Norland's warships were already lifting into the sky, because if Norland couldn't control the heart, he was prepared to destroy the entire city to erase it. Sirens screamed across the city. Above the clouds, Norland's warships slid into attack formation. Massive shadows crossed the sky as orbital cannons powered up. Inside the temple ruins, Emmett stared upward through the shattered roof. Now those look expensive. Era's glowing eyes followed the ships. He's going to burn the entire capital. Lena swore under her breath. Millions of civilians. Outside the temple gates, Caldorian soldiers filled the streets. Some looked toward the palace for orders. Others looked toward the temple. Toward Emmett, the man who the heart had chosen. He rubbed the back of his neck. I'm a cargo pilot. Era stepped closer. The heart chose you because you do something Caldorians forgot long ago. And that is? You act. The sky flashed. The first orbital cannon charged. A line of white energy carved down from space, straight toward the city center. Era raised her hand. The heart pulsed. A massive dome of energy erupted over the capital. The beam struck the shield and shattered across it like lightning hitting a mountain. The city survived, for now, but the warships continued charging. Era staggered. That shield. I cannot hold it long. Emmett looked at the soldiers gathering outside. Thousands. Waiting. He sighed. Well, guess I'm getting promoted. He stepped onto the temple balcony. Every soldier in the plaza looked up. Emmett raised his voice. Okay, quick question. Thousands of armored warriors stared. Anyone here know how to shoot down a warship? Silence. Then one pilot raised her hand. I do. Emmett grinned. Great, let's go steal an army. Because 10 minutes later, Emmett was leading a fleet he had absolutely no business commanding. Caldorian fighters roared into the sky. Hundreds of sleek ships launched from hidden hangars across the city. But Norland's fleet still outnumbered them 3-1. Inside the command fighter, Emmett stared at the control panel. And none of this is labeled. The pilot beside him shrugged. Most Caldorians learn this as children. Great, I learned forklifts. The fleet surged upward into the clouds. Warships opened fire. Space lit with explosions. But Emmett noticed something immediately. Your ships fight too clean. The pilot frowned. What does that mean? You line up, fire, repeat. That is standard Caldorian doctrine. Yeah, Emmett said. That's why you keep losing. He grabbed the comm channel. All fighters, break formation. Confused silence. Fly low. Use the cloud cover. Attack from blind angles. The pilot blinked. That's not how battles are fought. Emmett grinned. It is now. The fighters scattered into the storm clouds. Moments later, chaos erupted across Norland's fleet. Caldorian fighters appeared from impossible angles, striking engines. Weapon ports, shield emitters. Not clean, not honorable, effective. Warships exploded across the sky. Inside his flagship, Norland roared in fury. Destroy the temple! The largest cruiser turned its cannon toward the city. Energy surged, ready to fire. But inside the temple, the heart pulsed one final time, and Era finally understood its true purpose. The temple shook as the superweapon charged above. Era stood in the center of the chamber, glowing brighter than ever before. The heart floated in front of her, alive, ancient, watching. Lena looked up at the sky through the broken ceiling. The cannon will break the shield. Era nodded slowly. Yes, and if it does, the city dies. Outside, Emmett's fighters continued battling the fleet, but the cruiser's cannon was unstoppable. Unless Era turned to the heart. I understand now. The crystal pulsed softly. The ancient rulers of Caldoria had never meant the heart to control the people. It existed to protect them, even if the cost was everything. Era closed her eyes. Energy surged through her body. Above the city, the cruiser fired. A beam the size of a mountain slammed toward the capital. At the same moment, the heart exploded with light. A wave of energy erupted outward from the temple. The beam struck the city and vanished. Across the sky, every warship shut down instantly. Engines dead. Weapons silent, falling from orbit like broken stars. Inside the fighter cockpit, Emmett stared. Did we win? Back in the temple, the light faded. Era collapsed to her knees. The heart dimmed, silent, its power spent. But the city still stood. Millions of lives saved. Emmett landed in the plaza minutes later. He ran inside the temple. Era looked up weakly. It's over. Emmett laughed softly. Good. Outside, Caldorian soldiers watched the sky fill with falling warships. For the first time in centuries, the Empire was free. And somewhere in the galaxy, stories would begin spreading about a strange moment in history. The day a human cargo pilot accidentally saved an alien civilization. Not with power, not with prophecy, but with the one thing humans always bring to war: unpredictability. Because deep inside the silent heart of Caldoria, a single faint pulse suddenly appeared again.